This is 2 Timothy, verse 2 and 18. Who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. All right. All praises and honor. Call Halayim. All praises. Call Halayim. La to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Wahawa Kakudash. That's all praises to the Most High, who people call God, the creator of heaven and earth, whose true name is Yahweh in the ancient Hebrew tongue, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, who people call Jesus, whose true name is Yahweh Shai. All right. Wahab being and Kodash being holy, Wakab being spirit. Much peace, respect, and true love to the elect, the hopeful elect, those awakening, being awakened, and fighting a good fight of faith, being awakened to the faith. Much love and respect, true love, biblical love to the brothers, the true men at the Great Millstone Church, and salutations chiefly to the elder apostles. All right. So yeah, this is going to be a lesson dealing with speaking on things that's of future glory, right? Could have you in a world of trouble. It can, it's not wise to do. It could destroy the faith. All right. It could destroy your faith, others' faith, and etc. Here it is. The scriptures already lay it out visually that, we are at sea, basically. With a destination, So if we're on our way somewhere, clearly, how could, you say something that will basically contradict that? How could we say something that contradict that? Why would we give heed to something that contradict that? Because again, 2 Timothy 2 and 18, it says, who's concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. Right? So when we go to the book of the same letter, but the first letter to Timothy, in the first chapter, 1 Timothy 1 and 19, it says, let's start at 18. It says, this charge I commit unto thee, son Timothy, according to the prophecies which went before on thee, that thou by them might war a good warfare, holding faith and a good conscience, which some, having put away concerning faith, have made shipwreck. See that? So we're clearly, are on our way somewhere. All right. This is something you have to continue in. There's gonna be what's the word I'm looking for when the waters are, what's the word? I believe it started with T, I forget, but the waters is gonna be rough. All right. Some days it might calm, at moments it can calm down. It can be calmed down through the spirit, being in the spirit state, staying in the spirit. All right. And that's something to just stay mindful of, to be aware of. The Lord wouldn't use the examples he used for no reason. The Lord wouldn't say things if they would contradict certain things. He would not say things if, he could, So again, this lesson is just going to be on speaking of things that are of future glory, which indeed, obviously, right? Future glory is well, I hold that, which indeed is what the resurrection, right, concerns. It concerns future glory. It's under the category of future glory. We'll jump there right after this. So I'll read this one more time. This is 2 Timothy 2:19. It says, "Nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure, having verse 18, who concerning right the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection." Let's actually jump up. All right. Let's start at 16. "But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness." See, more ungodliness, and their word will eat as do a canker, which you can replace that word for the mouth sore gangrene. 3, right there. You can see that. See that gangrene. It says, or exchange that. But anyway, it says, hell, man. Let's start at 14. "Of these things put them in remembrance, charging them before the Lord that they should not that they strive not about words to no profit, but to the subverting of the hearers. Study to shew thyself approved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed." See that? Which a lot of men gonna be in Israel. So-called teachers, so-called prophets, you know, everybody prophets, everybody teaches. It says, "A workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, but shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. And their word will eat as do they canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already." And see that? Saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. Not that the resurrection isn't a real thing, it isn't true, right? But the fact that it's clearly a future glory, and they saying it's so it's ahead of us. It ain't happened yet, but uh, they're saying that it's basically not. It's done already. It's nothing to look forward to, and then that alters how you see the now. You know, that changes what your concern is and what's relevant as far as the now. All right. So, with that being said, let's go to Romans. All right. This is Romans chapter 8, as you see. It's headed, you start in 18, the future glory. All right. This is in the KJV, verse 18. "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time, are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." This is in the NLT. "Yes, yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory he will reveal to us later." It says, for all creation is waiting eagerly," continuing on in the NLT, "for the future day when God will reveal who his children really are." And it says, "Against its will, all creation was subjected to God's curse, but with eager hope." It says, "The creation looks forward." Let's read that in the KJV. Verse 20, "For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same, and hope," right? "But the creature itself shall be delivered," right, "from which is talking about Israel. This is how we know the elect of Israel from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. Because everybody not children of God except the Israelites, right? When you read on in the NLT, it says the creation, starting with the elect, the creation looks forward to the day when it will join God's children in glorious freedom from death and decay. See that? That's only promised to the Israelites. For we know that all creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. It says, and we believers also groan, even though we have the Spirit within us as a foretaste of future glory. See that? As a foretaste of future glory. So it's things that pertains that's basically will be categorized under or be categorized as future glory. All right. It says, for we long for our bodies to be released from sin and suffering. That's like somebody told you you had a new body already. You know, we already in the new bodies. We got the new bodies. You know, it's the spirit. It says to be released from sin and suffering. We too, right, wait with eager hope for the day when God will give us our full rights as his children, right? Including the new bodies, right? He has promised us. So it's that simple. All right? It is that simple. So you can't be, it's not a wise thing to be out here. It's not wisdom at all, you know, to be out here telling people, just talking about anything out of time, you know, which is things is of future glory and in the wrong way, as if they were of the now, the present time, and they weren't. They're not of tomorrow. We may these particular things you may not even know when, but you're talking about them as if they're now, and they're not exactly of what future glory. You know, because if people listening to you, right, and they start to believe that, they're deviating from what the truth actually is and how they supposed to be perceiving and it could have them get to a point to where they like things don't matter no more and they can start to become wicked, which is exactly what Second Timothy was about when you read this, right? This is Second Timothy 2 and 16. It says, but shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase. Right? Let's start at 15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun profane and vain babblings, right? For they will increase unto more ungodliness. And their word will eat as doth a canker. See that? It's going to eat away at your mouth. Your ear is going to destroy your ears. It's going to destroy the ears because it says, he that have an ear to ear, let him hear, right? So if your ear is likened unto a mouth, which we know it is because the scriptures say, do not the ear trieth words as the mouth tasteth his meat. If gangrene, which is a canker sore, right, which is associated with the mouth, right? So it's symbolizing the mouth right here. It's something that eat away at your mouth, and your ears likened unto a mouth, which is what this is getting at. It's an analogy. The same way a damn canker sore eat at your mouth, your gums, to where you can't eat anymore. If you ever had one, it's the same way certain words that's off, right? Things it could eat away at your ears to where you can't use your ears anymore. The ears that you got to hear, those hearing ears of yours, right? And that's for all you teachers out there. Now they can't even hear certain things no more, or hear the right way. All because your ass, your big mouth ass. So when you read on, it says, and their word will eat as a canker, of whom, right? is Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already. See that? And overthrow the faith of some. Exactly. Nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure, having this seal. See that? The Lord knoweth them that are his, and let everyone that nameth the name of Hamashiach depart from iniquity. So that seal is progis, right? Which is pretty much the thing used to prove that you are the Lord. Is the process, you know, because you don't know if you're of the Lord right now, because you don't know if you don't know for a fact if you're the Lord's right now, because the scriptures say he that endured to the end shall be saved. See that? Just like these people that was just in the faith. Did you know, were they damn sealed away, improved, and etc. already? They endure all the way to the end. They finished their course. No. So this is proof. And when you read this, actually, right? I'm sorry. When you read this in the translation of the NRSV, you get it. Salakia. 2 Timothy 2. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. 2 and Adawan Ratazab. It says 15. Do your best to present yourselves to God as one approved by him. A worker, because everybody that's speaking of God ain't approved by him. And we know if you approved by God, if you're speaking according to this word. Because if you're not, there's no light in you. Isaiah 8:20. It says a worker who has no need to be ashamed, rightly explaining the word of the of truth. Avoid profane chatter, which we know is common talk. So you basically sound like the world. You sounded like, you from a seminary school. You sound like a plantation Christian, right? It says, for it will lead people into more and more empathy, right? And piety or impiety. So, they not pious. It says, and their talk will spread like green, right? It says, among them are Hymenaeus and Philetus, who have swerved from the truth by claiming that the resurrection has already taken place. They are upsetting the faith of some, so defeating, because like they say in sports, it was an upset, they got people throwing up the truth, like an upset stomach, It says, but God's firm foundation stands bearing this inscription, quote unquote, the Lord knows those who are his, and let everyone who calls on the name of the Lord turn away from wickedness. So basically, them telling them that, what it's telling you is them telling them that, teaching that, it put people in a mindset to be off, because if they think certain things happen already, they could think, okay, well, dang, well, ain't no point in me doing this already, or we good already, we past that point already, or it might make them get comfortable and lax and make them think, okay, this means, I've endured, until the end. That's why you got so-called black people out here now talking about some they saved already. And you ain't saved. Not in the fullness. So you ain't saved. Can you spell saved without the ED on the end? Without the, the VED? You only got the S. It's like playing horse. You can't say you won horse if you only got the damn HOR spelled out. Still got to be the whole thing, man. All right. This is 1 Timothy 1 and 19 in the NLT. It says, Slaki, the NRSV. I'm going to start at the 18th verse, right? It says, I am giving you these instructions, Timothy, my child, in accordance with the prophecies made earlier about you, so that by following them, see that, you may fight the good fight. See that? That's the only way. It says, by rejecting conscience, certain persons have suffered shipwreck in the faith. See that? It's crazy, man. They was on their way to the kingdom, but they started thinking, stuff out of time and out of season, hastening to be above their maker, the Lord's time. And now they not on the way there. Now they've made shipwreck. And then you're going to have some people like Paul who was able to be, in that situation and still live, So this is 2 Timothy 2:19. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. It says, so do your best back in the NRSV to present yourself as to God as one approved by him, a worker who has no need to be ashamed, rightly explaining the word of truth. Avoid profane chatter, for it will lead people into more and more piety, and their talk will spread like gangrene among them, right? Because what they were talking about were leading people, like I said already, to getting complacent and basically distorted in their perception, of what reality is currently, and you see this through a number of things that, you got people out here teaching to where you got Israelites, going about life, this faith, the way they are. Some actually lead the faith because they just become confused. It says, among them are, and see, it was men that was pointed out for doing this. In this chapter right here, continuously in the first, not only in this second letter to Timothy, but in the first as well by Paul. It says, among them are Hymenaeus and Philetus, who have swerved from the truth by claiming that the resurrection has taken place. See that? And everything they're doing, and then they'll say that so they can basically do what they want to do, because that's basically what you're doing by teaching something that the Lord ain't saying, And even if he is saying it, you basically ain't saying it because he like him consider like how can I say this? The part of him saying it is in timing too. It's a part of the puzzle in the place it goes. It can't be a part of the puzzle if it's not in that place. That's not the puzzle. This was made to go here. So this has to be dealt with like this. This has to be addressed here. This has to be put here. Right? So it says, they are upset in the faith of some, but God's firm foundation stands, bearing this inscription: the Lord knows those who are his, and let everyone who calls on the name of the Lord turn away from wickedness. See that? So you can't be thinking because, okay, we spiritually use the resurrection, all this stuff, that which is actually of a future glory is now. And you can, because you will, one is dangerous because you will think you're able to do things that you can, and certain things matter that don't matter that do matter. All right, so yeah, you got things that's true, but ultimately, if it's out of season, it don't matter. This is Shipwreck 20, right? Back in the KJV, verse 20. And it reads what? A wise sentence, right? A wise sentence shall be rejected when it cometh out of a fool's mouth, for he will not speak it in due season. Exactly. It's gonna throw it off. It's gonna throw the whole everything off. So that go for a lot of things that's going on now, man. You got people out here, Christians and people in the truth talking about we in the new covenant, and we're not in the new covenant. Because the Lord would have been said that. If you was in the new covenant, why would you have to endure until the end to be saved? If you think like, yeah, that's been something that's been made, established by the Lord's blood to where we can receive the Holy Spirit, but we're not in the new covenant because you can't fall out of the new covenant when you're in the new covenant, which obviously you're still able to because Paul, Timothy, all of them are ministers of the new covenant, right? So Paul, how could he be telling people that people are being overthrown in the faith? They basically falling out. If everybody's in the new covenant, you couldn't have. So these things is true, but they're a future glory. So speaking on things as a future glory out of season is dangerous, man. And the Lord gonna get people doing that. You better repent, you know, because all it's doing is distorting people's perspective, and they got them doing effed up stuff, and they getting complacent. But you got some people too proud to damn, do that, you know. Cause you wanna climb up some other way. But when the real people find out, hey, it's gonna be an issue. These people gonna look and be like, you told me, blah blah blah. So, and I bring this up because the scriptures say in here. So in this here, this is Job 17:8. It says what? Upright men shall be astonished at this, and the innocent shall stir up himself against the hypocrite. See that? The righteous hold on his way. See that? The righteous also shall hold on his way, and he that hath clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. See that? That's fire, man, because that's all this is. It's crazy. You can't be, in some, that deals of a time where you ain't cursed at all and still face the curses. That don't make no damn sense. And you got people acting like it do, but it don't. I'm not finna act like it do. And act like that job cool, because it's not. All right? See if I want to read this in the NRSV or just go ahead and close this out. Yeah. The upright are appalled at this, and the innocent stir themselves up against the godless. Yet the righteous hold to their way, and they that have clean hands grow stronger and stronger. But you come back now, all of you, and I shall not find a sensible person amongst you. It's crazy. All right, call Halam La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakodash. We are the Hebrew Israelites. Hey, till next time, Shalom. Prophesying the downfall of America.